Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing some embroidery on a sweatshirt that I previously tie-dyed in another video. I'll link that for y'all so you can watch that process. I made two different sweatshirts. This one is the blue and black one. When I was making that video, I originally intended for this sweatshirt to be completely solid black and blue. That is not what happened. So this is the sweatshirt that we're going to be working with. It has quite a bit of white space on it, but I'm going to be doing the embroidery on any of the patches that have the dark color just to give kind of like a night sky effect. Just because we're going to be doing stars for the embroidery pattern. For this particular style of embroidery that I'm going to be doing, I was inspired by an Instagram account called Thread Honey, and all they do is embroidery, and they do like different embroidery patterns that you can buy. But I saw on their page a star pattern that was like a different color on the inside than the outside, and I thought that was super cool. And I managed to find some thread on Amazon that was metallic silver and metallic gold, and I thought that that would really pop on this just because it is just a simple sweatshirt to give it a little flair and pizzazz. So we're gonna see how that goes. I'm super new to embroidery. I did a little bit of a sample just to try it out and see how it went, and that's literally all I've ever done. So we're gonna see how today goes, and I am excited to see how it turns out. Okay, so since this is a knit fabric and it's a little bit more on the stretchier side, I'm gonna back it with a little bit of fusible interfacing. It's just this medium weight fusible that I had left over from a different project that I was working on. This does no stretch to it whatsoever, so it's just gonna give the fabric a little bit more of a foundation for when we put it into the hoop to embroider. Just gonna keep the fabric from stretching like crazy because you want it to be taut when you put the needle in, or else it's gonna be really hard to get the picture that you want. So I'm just gonna cut off pieces of this and iron this on the spots that I want to embroider. This is fusible interfacing, which means it has little bits of plastic essentially on the back of it, and you lay this down, and then when you iron it, it melts that plastic and it sticks to the fabric. But this is just gonna be a stabilizer for the fabric. That way we can embroider it more easily. So I'm gonna get started doing that. So I have this thing called Silver Pen. I got this at a shoemaking class of all places, but this is really great for marking stuff, especially if it's dark like this, because it is literally metallic. So I'm gonna go through and just mark a couple spots where I wanna do the stars so that they're perfectly symmetrical. Okay, so now that we have the fabric backed and we've got it in the hoop and we've marked it with where we want those marks to go, I already have this needle threaded. So we're gonna do a single strand of this thread, not a double. So when I put it through, I'm just gonna leave this out free like this. I'm not gonna tie it off. So then that way when we pull through, it's just the single strand of thread. So it is very hard to tell where the markings are on here. I'm so sorry, I wish that these were darker for y'all. But this is where we're gonna be going. And I drew a 4-point cross, but we're gonna be doing 8 points. So we'll do the 4 here that come into the middle, and then we'll break these up in the middle as well. So I'm gonna show y'all the first couple stitches, and we'll see how this goes. Okay, and we'll go down in that point. And then when we come up again, we'll do, instead of coming in here in the second line, we'll come up right in between the two. And then when you do the center of the star, you want to make sure you go down into the same hole that you came out of originally. So we're going to go straight back into that center hole. That just keeps it nice and precise and just keeps the center of the star looking a bit more uniform. I just think it looks a little bit better that way. If it's off a little bit, it can make it look just a little bit sloppier. And then we'll go back through that top point and back down through that hole. And then we're just going to repeat that all the way until we have the basic outline for the silver. Okay, and we could stop there if we wanted to. I mean, that's still a really pretty star, but we're gonna add like a gold outline to it just to kind of elongate it and make it a little bit more multi-dimensional. So let me just switch out my thread real quick and then we'll do the gold outline. All right, so I got my gold thread threaded. Same thing as last time, I'm just gonna leave this open so that it pulls through and you have the single thread. So when you come up into here to add in that gold outline, you're gonna come up between all the little points right here. So the closer you get down to where these threads meet, the more precise it's gonna look. So I would recommend really taking your time to make sure you're getting close down to that base. And then when you go back down, you're gonna go just a little bit past where this ends. And you can make this as big and drawn out as you want, or you can make it as close in as to the silver as you'd like. It's completely up to you. I like it to be a little bit larger, so I'm gonna go out a little bit further. And then we'll come back down from underneath on this next spot, again taking my time to get nice and close down. And then just like that center hole, you're gonna wanna go down basically into the exact same hole that you went into for the other one. Again, that's just gonna keep it a little bit more precise. And then now you have a little outline there, and then we're just gonna keep going around. Okay, so that is the finished star design. So I'm just gonna do that a bunch more times, and I'm really excited to see how this turns out. Okay, so I'm nearly done with this sweatshirt, but I'm gonna be putting in some filler stars between the larger stars just to fill in some of the blank space. So I'm gonna show you all the technique that I used for that. So we're gonna do this little patch right here. So start just like normal with a stitch from underneath. And then you'll go down about like 1/2 inch-ish, depending on how big you want this to be. It's totally up to you as far as size. These can be completely random. And then when you come up through the other side again, you don't want it to be a perfect cross. You want it to be off just slightly, kind of like an X. We're gonna go up right here. And then down similarly on the opposite side, just to give it that X look. And then we'll do one more across that. So coming up through here, and then down on the opposite side. To give you this little star. And then to secure everything in place, I'm just gonna do a tiny little stitch that's gonna go over this just to hold everything together. So you'll come up underneath. I kind of use my finger just to move the thread around a little bit. Make sure you get right up next to that center point where everything comes together. And then you want to go down basically through the same hole, if not very, very, very close. And then once you pull that down, that's going to kind of seal the whole thing together. And then you'll just tie a knot. sweatshirt is officially done. I would say all in all, it took me probably 6 to 8 hours to sew everything. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Considering this is my first time doing something this extensive for embroidery, or really any embroidery at all, I'm very happy with the result. I will definitely be wearing this a lot once it's actually cold outside. I'm in Texas, so it's very warm right now. Definitely not the weather for a sweatshirt. Another tip that I have for you, this sweatshirt is insanely itchy because of the thread on the inside. So I'm gonna be going back and doing a lining on the inside of just like some scrap fabric that I have, and just like covering the patches of where the thread is. And another quick thing I forgot to mention, when I did finish all of the stars, I went into the inside and I did a fray check on all of the knots and on a lot of the threads. Fray check is just like glorified glue, basically. You use it to help prevent fraying on fabric. This thread is so thick, and because it's metallic, it's not as bendy as some other threads would be. So I didn't want the knots to come undone and then all of the threads start coming out. So I did add all that, and that just keeps everything tight. And once it's sealed, they shouldn't come out again. So that would be another tip that I would have for you, especially with a thread this thick. I would definitely do that step. If you have any recommendations, if you're like a very skilled embroiderer and you have tips or tricks, I'm always happy to hear new information. Of course, since I am so new to this, I'm sure I did some things wrong. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel. If you want to find my Instagram, it's the same name, So Far From Ordinary. That's gonna have a little bit different content on there as far as like side projects and like things I've collected. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on the next one.